So I saw the Super Mario Galaxy movie early. I was somebody who did not like that first Mario movie. And unfortunately, this is not really an improvement. Not to say that it didn't learn some lessons from that, but there are some parts that are actually worse than the first movie. The only thing I really liked about this movie, like the first one, is the amazing musical score by Brian Tyler, which gives new twists on tracks from various Mario games. The art direction and color palette looks pretty good. The animation isn't really that interesting, but there's one fun thing they do with the animation, which the end credits also lean into. I appreciated that. There's definitely less of an attempt at characterization and story than the first movie. But hey, at least there's less random out of place popular songs. Don't worry though, we still get such unfitting moments, like the only Biggie song that has appeared in another Hollywood animated film randomly showing up and feeling really out of place. As a Mario and Nintendo diehard my whole life, I understood a bunch of references, but like references don't make a movie better. If I wanted to see a bunch of things I recognize from Mario games, I could look on the Mario Wiki or actually play one of the games. This shoves in a lot of different Mario games and maybe too much for its own good. This is a very, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened type movie where characters and story are sidelined just to show the next flashy area. The voice acting is mostly famous actors with little passion. Anya Taylor-Joy is somehow less enthusiastic with her lines than Chris Pratt in this one, which he wasn't great either. And even Benny Safdie adds nothing, which I love him in The Curse. Glenn Powell and Charlie Day might be the only performers that really have fun here, and even Jack Black feels off this time around when he was putting some passion into that first one. And back to that overstuffed nature, I wish this let me breathe for a second. This film is incredibly fast-paced at the expense of characterization. There's way too many characters and so many are sidelined. The ending leaves a lot unresolved and comes at a very unsatisfying moment. It's like, wait, that's it? That's where we're ending? Give us like 10 more minutes. I wish this film was funny at least once. Like, the jokes are very inoffensive, but it's a lot of material that you would find in like the least memorable children's show. I'm sick of the billionth character who has like a cutesy baby voice and exists just to get the characters in trouble. There's nothing to justify this being a movie, and I was very bored throughout this, despite being a Mario fan my whole life. I would have to give this one, I don't know, like it's like a high 2 or a low 3. I gave the first one a 3 when I saw it, but even that I want to bump down. Like I said, I really like the score, but I'm like, okay, the score, that stood out to me. And while this looks pretty a lot of the time, it doesn't even feel like it has much motivation in its visual design. So yeah, I'll be generous. I'll say a low 3, okay? We'll stick with a low 3. The first movie had problems with pacing and plot. Somehow this got worse. Like, it was a pretty low bar and they didn't clear that bar. But I am grateful that they learned to not spam popular music every 5 seconds, and we only got like 2 or 3 in here. All right, a few more things. I had a couple people ask me, how's Birdo? Because Birdo's like trans in the games and stuff. Or am I dead naming her Birdetta? How is a trans representation of Mario Galaxy movie? She doesn't talk at all, and she's in it for like 2 seconds. You want me to talk spoilers? Okay, I'll talk spoilers. I mean, it's just, it's references of like, okay, Mr. Game & Watch appeared. Okay, the second post-credits was Daisy, because yeah, there's 2 post-credits. Okay, Daisy doesn't talk either, because they didn't want to secure a voice actress until they get that next one in production. You know, it's like Amy in the latest Sonic movies post-credit. They set up this whole thing where it's like, oh, Mario, you should totally ask Peach out. Like, Luigi's, like, egging him on. And that's what I was talking about. They just drop that, and the movie just ends very suddenly. Oh, speaking of which, that first post-credit scene, they spoiled half of it in a trailer already. Like, this is from the post-credit. And, yeah, they don't really have much going on there. It's just like, okay, Bowser Jr. and Bowser, they're in a jail far away. And also, Star Fox, you know, Fox McCloud leaves. Yeah, for some reason, Nintendo spoiled Fox being in this movie last week. Like, you could have just held that for a week, you know, wait a few days for the film to come out in theaters, and it would have been a nice surprise. What's interesting is that Fox is like the 5th most prominent character. I would say Fox has more screen time than Rosalina. It's kind of insane. So maybe that's why they spoiled that. And he's voiced by Glenn Powell, which is a pretty popular actor right now. And that's what I was saying. Glenn Powell actually does a good job as Fox McCloud. And there is a fun little animation thing where, like, the thing was, it wasn't super distinct because it reminded me of that one Star Fox, I think it was Zero animation that we got online. But there was like a 2D animated segment with like Fox's backstory. And in here, he's like transported to like another universe. So they do kind of explain that, okay, this isn't in the same universe. Also, that lore twist that like Rosalina and Peach are related, I was like, ugh, do we really have to do that? Like, these are the two most prominent female characters of the two movies so far, and they're related? Come on. Also, they try to have an arc with like Bowser and Bowser Jr. where like Bowser abandoned Bowser Jr. and Bowser Jr. just wants to prove his worthiness to his father. It's so downplayed, and it feels like a repeat in a lot of ways with like the father-son relationship of Mario and his dad in the first movie. Speaking of which, Bowser just switches from being a good guy to a bad guy in this movie, and it just kind of randomly happens at the will of the plot instead of feeling like something that authentically would happen with the character. That felt out of place. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you agree or disagree? Subscribe here for more honest movie takes. Sorry they've all been negative recently. It's just like the ones that I could justify the time to cover because this is kind of like a side channel. The more popular ones I haven't really been connecting with. I'll see you later. Peace out.